Catherine Walsh stared at the encrypted message on her personal tablet, her hands trembling. The royal palace's nightlights cast long shadows across her private chambers. The message confirmed her worst fears. Her husband, King William of the Terran Empire, had ordered her elimination. She glanced at the security feeds showing her 5-year-old son Christopher sleeping peacefully in his room. The boy looked so much like her, with the same auburn hair and green eyes. William had grown increasingly paranoid about their son's resemblance to her rather than him. Moving swiftly, Catherine accessed the palace's secure networks using codes given to her by a loyal guard. She discovered the assassination was planned for tomorrow night, disguised as a terrorist attack. The king had even arranged for their son to have an unfortunate accident in the chaos. Catherine packed a small bag with essential items and documents. She transferred massive funds to hidden accounts and downloaded critical military intelligence. She was going to protect Christopher. She would need every advantage. The night guard rotation was beginning. Catherine slipped through the secret passages she had mapped over the years, making her way to Christopher's room. She gently woke her son. "Sweetheart, we need to go on a special adventure," she whispered, helping him into warm clothes. "Where are we going, Mama?" Christopher asked sleepily. "Somewhere safe," she replied, lifting him into her arms. They moved through the darkness of the palace. Catherine used her override codes to disable security systems and cameras. Years of preparing for this possibility were finally paying off. They reached the private shuttle bay just as alarms began blaring through the palace. Someone had discovered their absence sooner than expected. Catherine rushed aboard her personal shuttle, strapping Christopher into a seat. "Hold tight, darling," she said, initiating the launch sequence. Palace security forces burst into the bay, weapons raised. Catherine sealed the shuttle doors and punched through the atmospheric barrier, the ship shuddering as it took defensive fire. Within moments, they were in orbit. Catherine activated the shuttle's stealth systems and plotted a course for the outer colonies. Behind them, the capital world's defense platforms remained silent. Her codes still worked. The next morning, all communication channels carried the king's message. Queen Catherine had betrayed the empire. She had killed loyal guards in an attempt to kidnap the prince.
Ow!
She was to be considered armed and dangerous. A massive reward was offered for their capture. Catherine watched the broadcast from their shuttle, now safely hidden in an asteroid field. Christopher slept in the cabin behind her, unaware that his life had changed forever. She sent one final encrypted message to her most trusted allies. "The king's hands are stained with innocent blood. Keep watch." Then she activated the shuttle's long-range drives. They would hide in the distant mining colonies, where Imperial control was weakest. There she would raise Christopher, teach him the truth, and build a network of supporters. One day they would return. One day the king would answer for his crimes. But for now, her only priority was keeping her son safe and preparing him for the challenges ahead. The shuttle vanished into deep space, carrying its precious cargo toward an uncertain future. The greatest civil war in human history had been set in motion, though none yet knew it. 20 years passed on the mining colony of New Haven. Daniel, once known as Prince Christopher, had grown into a strong young man working as a mining engineer. Never questioned why his mother Catherine insisted on combat training alongside his regular studies. Catherine had built a new life as the colony's chief medical officer, earning respect among the miners and traders. Behind this peaceful facade, she maintained a vast network of informants throughout the empire, watching King William's growing tyranny. The king's policies had become increasingly harsh. Heavy taxes crushed the outer colonies, while the core worlds grew richer. Military patrols harassed civilian ships, and dissenters vanished without trace. The once great Terran Empire was becoming a dictatorship. One morning, Daniel was inspecting a deep mining shaft when an emergency alert sounded. A royal patrol vessel had entered orbit, conducting surprise inspections. Catherine's heart raced as she prepared the medical bay, knowing these inspections often turned violent. The royal officers marched through the colony, scanning identities and checking papers. Catherine had long ago created perfect false documents, but technology had advanced. The new scanners might detect the subtle changes. Daniel watched from his workstation as the officers approached. Their leader, Commander Pierce, was notorious for his cruelty. The scanner hummed as it passed over Daniel's face, For a moment, the device blinked red. Pierce frowned, checking the reading again. But before he could investigate further, alarms blared from the mining shaft. A genuine accident had occurred, requiring immediate attention.
Medical team
Needed in Shaft 7, the announcement echoed. Catherine rushed to respond, grateful for the distraction. The emergency kept the colony busy for hours. By the time order was restored, the Royal Patrol had more pressing matters to address. They departed, but the close call left Catherine shaken. That evening, she found Daniel at their favorite spot overlooking the colony's hydroponic gardens. He was troubled by something. "The scanner acted strange today," he said. "I saw how worried you looked." "Mother, what aren't you telling me?" Catherine knew this day would come. The Royal Patrols were getting better at genetic identification. Soon, they would need to move again, or risk discovery. "We should go inside," she said. "There's much you need to know." But before she could explain, a news broadcast caught their attention. King William was announcing a new heir, a son born to his second wife. The Empire celebrated, but Catherine saw the truth. William was securing his bloodline, erasing all trace of his true heir. Daniel watched the broadcast, feeling a strange connection he couldn't explain. The king's face stirred distant memories, fragments of a life he couldn't quite recall. Catherine touched the locket she always wore, containing a royal DNA sample that would prove their identity. Soon she would have to tell Daniel everything. Soon he would learn of his birthright and the burden that came with it. But for now, she watched her son stare at the stars above New Haven, still innocent of the destiny awaiting him. The Empire's future hung in balance, and the next move in this long game would change everything. The truth emerged during a routine medical screening. Daniel had cut his hand in the mines, requiring treatment at the colony's medical facility. The new diagnostic system detected something extraordinary in his blood, markers of royal lineage. Daniel stared at the screen, his world shifting. The system identified him as a direct match to the royal bloodline, specifically as the son of King William. He rushed home, bursting through the door where Catherine sat reviewing intelligence reports. "The medical scan showed something impossible," Daniel said, his voice shaking. "Shh." Catherine knew the moment had arrived. She opened her locket, revealing the DNA chip hidden inside. "Your real name is Christopher," she began. "You are the true heir to the Terran Empire." Over the next hours, Catherine revealed everything. She showed Daniel proof of William's betrayal, the assassination plot, and their escape. She explained how she had built a resistance network while raising him in safety. "The king grows more tyrannical each day," Catherine said. "The outer colonies suffer while he hoards wealth and power. Many remember the better days when justice meant something." Daniel paced the room, processing the revelation. "All my combat training, the political lessons, the strategy games, you were preparing me." "Yes," Catherine admitted. "I needed you ready when the time came. The time is now." News arrived from their network. The king's announcement of a new heir had sparked unrest in several systems. Colonial leaders questioned the legitimacy of a second-born heir, while taxes crushed their people. Catherine activated her secure communications, contacting trusted allies built over 2 decades. Governors, military officers, and merchant lords who remembered her as their true queen answered her call. "We have waited for this," said Governor Laura Martinez of the Perseus colonies. "The outer systems will stand with you." Admiral Peter Wright, commanding the frontier fleet, pledged his ships to their cause. "The Navy remembers who protected their families," he said. "We remember the queen who cared for her people." Daniel studied the strategic displays, seeing the Empire with new eyes. "The outer colonies have resources and shipyards," he observed. "The core worlds depend on them." "Yes," Catherine agreed. "William's greed has made him vulnerable. But we must move carefully. One mistake could cost countless lives." They worked through the night, planning their next moves. Daniel absorbed everything, showing the tactical brilliance Catherine had carefully nurtured. His engineering knowledge of mining colonies would prove invaluable. As dawn approached, Daniel held the royal DNA chip, finally understanding his true identity. "The king will pay for his crimes," he said. "It's not just against us, but against everyone he has hurt." Catherine watched her son transform from a mining engineer into a leader. The years of preparation had shaped him well. He thought of others first, understood both privilege and hardship, and knew the value of justice. "Tomorrow we begin," Catherine said. "The Empire will know its true heir lives. The king's blood-stained crown will meet justice at last." Outside their window, the mining colony stirred to life, unaware that history was turning. Soon this quiet outpost would become the birthplace of a revolution, and Daniel would emerge as the leader the Empire desperately needed. The rebellion spread like wildfire across the outer colonies. Catherine led from the command center on New Haven, coordinating their growing forces. Daniel proved himself a brilliant commander, using his knowledge of mining colonies to strike critical resource lines. Their first major victory came at the Battle of Centauri Gate. Admiral Wright's frontier fleet, supported by colonial defense ships, ambushed a royal supply convoy. The captured resources were distributed to struggling colonies, winning more hearts to their cause. King William responded with brutal force. He sent his elite guard to crush rebellious worlds, but his tactics only pushed more systems into Catherine's alliance. The people remembered their former queen's kindness and saw it again in her strategic choices. "Protect civilian centers first," Daniel ordered during the defense of New Eden Colony. His engineers converted mining equipment into makeshift defenses. When the royal forces arrived, they found an impenetrable fortress protecting thousands of refugees. The king's new heir, young Prince Gregory, appeared on broadcasts declaring the rebels traitors. But Catherine's network released proof of Daniel's identity, showing his royal DNA markers. Systems that had been neutral began choosing sides. "The outer colonies have suffered enough," Catherine announced to their council. "We must take the fight to the core worlds." Daniel developed a bold strategy. Using mining ships retrofitted with advanced weapons, they began targeting the king's private supply lines. Each raid weakened William's grip on power while strengthening their own forces. The turning point came during the Battle of Saturn's Ring. The royal fleet expected another raid but found themselves facing Daniel's full armada. He used the ice rings as cover, outmaneuvering the larger royal ships. "Target their engines only," Daniel commanded. "Give their crews a chance to surrender." His mercy toward defeated enemies earned respect, even among royal forces. Entire squadrons began defecting to their side. Catherine watched with pride as her son balanced military necessity with compassion. He had become exactly the leader she had hoped to raise, strong but just. The victory at Saturn opened the path to Earth. Royal propaganda could no longer hide the rebellion's success. Citizens in the core worlds began questioning the king's rule. "We have them on the defensive," Admiral Wright reported. "The royal fleet is scattered. Earth's defenses are weakening." Catherine studied the tactical display. 2 decades of planning were coming to fruition. The king's forces retreated closer to Earth, abandoning outer systems to protect the throne world. "He's desperate now," Daniel observed. "That makes him dangerous." Reports confirmed his fears. King William had ordered the planetary defense grid upgraded, not caring how many resources it drained from his people. He would burn the Empire to keep his crown. Catherine sent a final message across all channels to all loyal citizens of the Empire. "The time has come to restore justice. Stand with us and help end this tyranny." The response was overwhelming. Ships and soldiers pledged to their cause. The Royal Palace Guard, witnessing William's madness firsthand, secretly contacted them with defense plans. "Tomorrow, we take back what he stole," Catherine told her commanders. "Not just the throne, but the dream of a just empire." Daniel nodded, studying the palace schematics. The final battle would determine not just their fate, but the future of humanity among the stars. They had one chance to make it right. The battle for Earth began at dawn. Daniel led the space assault, while Catherine commanded the ground forces. Their fleet emerged from hyperspace, engaging the royal defense platforms surrounding the throne world. "All ships, concentrate fire on the main defense grid," Daniel ordered. His mining ships, now converted to warships, used their industrial cutting beams to slice through the orbital defenses. King William watched from his palace as explosions lit up the sky. His remaining loyal forces fought desperately, but they were outmatched by the rebels' superior tactics and determination. Catherine's transport landed near the capital city, protected by rebel fighters. Her ground forces, many former royal guards who remembered her kindness, moved swiftly to secure key positions. The citizens, tired of William's oppression, offered no resistance. Inside the palace, William grew increasingly unstable. He ordered his guards to fire on their own people, but they refused. His new wife and young heir had already fled, seeing the end approaching. Daniel's forces breached the upper atmosphere, establishing air superiority over the capital. Royal ships surrendered in growing numbers, their crews unwilling to die for a mad king. "The palace defense grid is down," reported Admiral Wright. "Ground teams are moving in." Catherine led her soldiers through the palace halls. She had fled 20 years ago. The memories of that terrible night fueled her determination. They encountered pockets of resistance, but quickly overcame them. In the throne room, William sat alone, clutching the royal scepter. When Catherine entered, his face twisted with rage. "You destroyed everything," he snarled, drawing a hidden weapon.
"Oh, William."
Yeah.
"You did that yourself," Catherine replied calmly. "Your greed and paranoia ruined what we built together." Daniel arrived with his team, securing the room. William saw his true heir approach and fired his weapon wildly. The shots went wide, and Daniel disarmed his father with the combat skills Catherine had taught him. "Christopher," William whispered, finally recognizing his son. He looked so much like her. "My name is Daniel now," he replied. "You will answer for your crimes." Palace security cameras revealed the full truth of William's betrayal. He had planned to kill Catherine and Christopher to marry someone more politically advantageous. His plots had nearly destroyed the empire he claimed to protect. The Royal Council, reformed with representatives from all colonies, passed judgment. William would spend his remaining years imprisoned on a remote world, stripped of all titles and power. Catherine and Daniel addressed the empire together from the palace balcony. The crowds cheered for their returned queen and true heir. "We will rebuild," Catherine promised. "Not an empire of fear, but one of justice and prosperity for all worlds." Daniel stepped forward. "The outer colonies will have equal voice in our government. Never again will power corrupt our leadership." In the days that followed, they began healing the empire's wounds. Mining colonies received fair treatment, trade routes reopened, and oppressive laws were struck down. Catherine watched her son lead with wisdom and compassion, proving himself worthy of the crown he never sought. The people called him Daniel the Just, remembering how he had grown up among them. The royal bloodline was cleansed of its stain. A new era began for humanity, built on the strength of a mother's love and a son's dedication to justice. In the end, the true power of the empire lay not in its military might or vast territories, but in the renewed trust between its leaders and people.